Hey, RetconRaider here, and welcome back to Battle Brothers Season 3. As today, the one contract on offer back in Hikma was Ifrit, so, obviously we're not going to take that. And instead, we shall once again wend our way back into yonder noble war. Hopefully we can get at least one, maybe two more contracts, though, honestly. If it's almost over, just completing one will likely usher in its end. And it looks like we're getting back just in time. Urloc's looking slightly worse for wear. Let's see what we got. Raided and ambushed supply routes, no surprise there. A leash dog runs up to you with a whole lot of barking. The man at the end of the leash nods toward the canine. You see a scroll hooked to its collar. The beast some sort of messenger mongrel. That, or someone is having a bit of a laugh. Taking the note, you read a local nobleman has requested your services. Maybe it's not a joke after all. The dog simply barks again and wags its tail, sitting dutifully and looking rather accomplished. Ah, the dogs of war. You stop outside Count Gisbert von Harkon's door and ask yourself, do you need this shit in your life? Suddenly a servant bumps into you with a chest of crowns. He asks if Count Gisbert von Harkon is inside because the 4,120 crowns are ready for delivery to the sellsword. You quickly butt ahead of the servant and enter the room. Count Gisbert welcomes you warmly. He explains that Commander Sir Giselher is still sieging Oberberg and is about to have a breakthrough. He just needs a few more men to push things over the edge. Count Gisbert von Harkon pretends to think and then finally adds, 4,120 crowns will be in it for you. You feign surprise at the amount. And, of course, we'll go ahead and take it. Which, honestly, it is across the map. We know where Oberberg is. We've visited it many a time. But it is a suitable way to wrap the war, I think, since that was one of the first contracts we were offered. Which, we declined at the time, since it was so far. But you know what? If we're only going to do one more contract anyway, might as well play for keeps. Which, yes, I have said before, but, more appropriate now than any other time I may have used it. Not much else here for us, so let's head out. Not sure we'll actually get there today, but we can at least wend our way across the map. Perhaps stop over in Lounstadt. That'll make a good staging ground for the final push. And we've got this strip of fog right down the middle, so we can clear some of that up while we're at it. That'll also give Verlin some time to recover, too. Yeah, he got messed up our last outing into the arena. Gotta be careful with that. Oop. Marksmen and Raiders, not the most exciting fight, but good rookie fodder. Let me just do some quick rearranging here. As the Raiders worked their way across the war-torn countryside, they spied sign after sign of the true damage wrought by the extended conflict. Perhaps one of the most telling signs: the bandits running rampant on major trade paths. Though generally smart enough to try to give the raiders themselves a wide berth, the raiders still saw fit to end those few they stumbled across. War was good for business and all, but it simply wasn't sustainable. The sooner things returned to the status quo, the better. The fleeing brigands took up a defensive position behind a copse of trees, shuffling about uneasily, and seeing that they had no plans to advance, the raiders finally rushed forward. Though as Rook stepped up, he was met by an overly eager brigand, a massive metal-studded flail hoisted overhead. The rest of the raiders advanced, forming a rough, three-pronged assault. A bit ragged, but effective enough once they found their footing. A brigand swordsman was swiftly overwhelmed on south. The flailman shorn and torn on center, blood spilling over crude chain. A careful shot from bowman, an arrow sunk deep in a bandit crossbowman's chest. And Rax waded in. Straight down center, eyes set on the bandit's back line. One of the archers already shuffling backward. The bleeding crossbowman falling into a full bloody sprint. Drak finishes carving up the flailman. And Seymore steps up. But no luck. Unaccustomed as he is to the unwieldy weight of his new equipment. Rassel smashes a nose on south. Right. Just shrub it off. A strike from Rook, a bludgeoner bloodied. An arrow arcs, ending its brief journey in the kidney of a coughing cut purse. A few axes fly, glancing off the armor of the raiders. A blistering blast sounding in response. The bandit formation shook, one in particular falling, dead amidst the deadwood. Random bruises a bruiser on south. A would-be flailman collapsing to one knee, leg folded beneath him. Giannis claims his first kill, battering a broke-nosed bandit to the ground. I want to say that's how his name is pronounced. Giannis. Cetrus shatters a skull, brains and bits of bone spattering the bandit behind. And Rax cuts loose. The churning rise and fall of his axe, claiming two more victims. The bandit back line brutally dispatched. Though Arrow does his part as well, finishing the kidney shot, cut purse. Then the hobbled hooligan as well. Another target marked and killed. And then but one remained. The raiders wading in, each eager to claim the kill, though perhaps Seymore would get it. It would be nice to wet that new blade. But alas, such was not to be, for such is the nature of RNG. Cetrus claims the kill instead, the final bandit bodied. With a level up for Giannis. And of course some other paltry goods, nothing all that notable here. No level up for Mal or Sig. So just Giannis. Also, right, I guess I forgot about Verlin. Let's go ahead and knock that out while we're at it. Not that we're really doing anything fancy with him at this point. We're just bulking up his numbers. Yeah, that's fine. And Giannis Katronicus. Level 4, so we'll go ahead and grab Dodge, which is slightly overdue. As aforementioned, I took Gifted slightly early just to bump his defense up, which was ultimately unneeded since he also got the +5 to defense from that potion. And yeah, we'll basically take health every time he rolls a 5. That should be more than enough with or without Colossus. And I guess initiative, since he doesn't have any stars there. Long term, we also got to bump up his RDEF, his morale, his fatigue. Still looking pretty good for a level 4. And on we go. Not sure if it's really worth our time to go to either of these towns. Our main goal is Landschwecht. Yeah, Landschwecht's got the taxidermist. That's the main thing we need right now. We're loaded down with monster parts. Oh. You come across a man in a sort of disparate state. On one hand, he's covered in ornate armor that seems befitting a man sitting on a horse, ready to joust at a grand tournament. On the other hand, he's laid out on the ground, legs scissoring back and forth in a drunken stupor, his arms slung out as if they were around the shoulders of friends, but instead only finding the comfort of mud.
I beseech ye, traveller, buy my armors and my weapons, and leave me the crown suitably worthy of both, such that I may seek redemption another way, for them martial matters are no longer kin to my path in this world, and I'd sooner buy my way to young Anselm's grace than see to it with the swing of a sword. May the old gods smite me for admitting it aloud, but I'll admit it aloud.
It seems he's offering his weapons and armor for a price of, if you get his babbling right, 9,000 crowns. Ooh, boy. I mean, on the one hand, that is a pretty hefty price tag, but on the other, a full-on set of adorned Oathkeeper gear is pretty great. Yeah, I mean, we'll take it. Nice, yes, a full adorned set. That is fantastic. You crouch down with a purse of crowns in hand. Take it off. The man nods and starts shucking off the armor, wriggling out of it, sniffing now and again. He holds it all out, and the armor with it. You have it taken and put into inventory, then give the monies as agreed. His fingers clutch and grip and touch the purse like a spider's legs, rolling up its prey, his drunken eyes darting left to right. He gets up and hobbles away. You have a feeling that he will not find the redemption he thinks he will with that money. Rassel puts a hand on your shoulder.
Don't dwell on it, Captain. There's certain people in this world that you just don't want to be the last person who forgets them. Understand?
No, I don't actually follow, but I'll take your word on it, Rassel.
Thanks.
Bit of a shame we couldn't have just asked him to join up. We could have used tonight, drunk or otherwise. I mean, hey, some people see the drunkard trait as a boon. But at least we got his gear. Don't really need the pick, but I am more than happy to get that adorned set. Which is indeed, I believe, slightly better than the best non-unique armor. So ultimately, that might make a good set to potentially give to Mal later down the line. Once he's fully heavy armor compatible. Yeah, I mean, like not a huge difference, but a 4-point swing on fatigue, we'll take it. Honestly, almost kind of on par with the unique we've got on Cetrus, at least. His provides 36 more durability, but also comes at the cost of 6 extra fatigue. Though I think Rax is the real pick of the litter, as far as heavy armor goes. One sec, let me take care of some quick bookkeeping here. And you know what, we might as well lock in Mal and Sig's defensive perks while we're at it. I think at this point it's pretty obvious where they're both more or less ending up. And we're back. Some very slightly shuffled gear. And perks locked in for Sig and Mal, with Sig, of course, leaning nimble. And Mal leaning battle-forged. Though he will still need some work on that fatigue. But I think he's pretty well on course for both the Adorned set and for that Orc Cleaver. The first, a few more levels under his belt, just to be sure. On we go. I gave it some thought. We're going to skip Hohenwacht if we can. We'll cut across the mountains instead. Hopefully we'll stumble across a nice target or two en route. Since, yeah, taking a keep is a multi-step process that'll need a whole episode in and of itself. Wow, nothing. Okay. Hey, there we go. Burglar's Encampment. Marksmen and Raiders. Easy prey. I would have perhaps preferred something more challenging, but we'll take what we can get. Oh, actually. Look at that. Ver is mostly recovered. Still need some hit points in the tank, but that bodes well for the Battle of Oberberg. Continuing their cross-country trek, the raiders move through unfamiliar territory as they skirt between Oakwood Meadow and Fairdale Forest, eventually stumbling across another crude set of palisades. A place to rest, perhaps? But as they draw closer, they find that this is, of course, no mere hunter's encampment, but rather yet another group of bloodthirsty bandits. And thus the raiders draw their blades. They've got us on range. We'll have to get aggressive on this one. As the raiders approach the well-fortified encampment, they were met with a haphazardly fired hail of bolts and arrows. None striking true, but still some passing alarmingly close as they pattered about the forest floor. The raiders waded their way forward, pushing through spongy loam and dense but scattered shrubbery. It would take them some time to close the distance. They used the terrain as best they could on approach. An errant tree, a few low rocks or fallen logs. Anything to shield them from the oncoming fire. With Mark and Arrow doing their best to lay down fire to cover the rest of the warband's approach. Drakiith broke off to one side, looking to work his way around the northern stretch of palisade. Arrow stepping up, lancing a shot off a shieldman's shoulder. Rax rushed in, rounding the tree. Sight set on the center opening. The guard on duty there was already blanching bleeding profusely from what had previously seemed to be a very light, glancing hit, but had now turned into a veritable river of blood, painting his armor red. Rassel and Random rush in on south, met by a pair of eager brigands. Even as another aspiring assailant circled wide to the north, heavy woodsman's axe cradled in his hands. Yeah, not enough room for Giannis. He'll circle south. We'll get Seymore and Rax on center. The ostensibly heavy hitters. And seeing their gate guard about to be overwhelmed, a brigand spearman rushed out the front. And with that, the battle was well and truly joined. A quick shot from Bowman, flaying a crossbowman's face. Mark moved in, trying to draw a bead, despite the cluttered terrain. He held his fire for the time being, no open shot yet in offing. The clatter of arrows, the thunk of a club. The raiders took a few minor hits, but no blood yet drawn. And Rack stepped up. The spearman's head sent soaring, his body tumbling into the brush. Drac and Diego held, waiting for the axemen to approach on north. King's Rook thrust through the sparsely packed palisade, piercing a marksman's thigh. Rassel stunned the scoundrel on south. Easy prey as Random flails. A crack of the sensor, fracturing fingers. Sigmar's sword met shield. The soldier still needed practice swinging. Mal and Giannis circled wide, eyeing a cleaver-wielding cad on south. Cedra swung over the palisade, heavy hammer smashing another hand. Diego and Drac engaged. Mark pushed up to the wall, handgun locked and loaded. Barrel pushed betwixt two barricades. A bewildered bowman was blown asunder, body parts raining about the interior of the camp. The face-shot crossbowman finally collapsed. Blood loss getting the better. And Rax breached the gate, and the gateman along with it, glancing back at the stalwart Seymore in irritation. You coming or what? Random battered a bandit bludgeoner beyond recognition. Another jab from Rook, this time piercing another archer's face. Seymore pushed in, blade held ready. Oh, and once again it went wide. Just unlucky on that RNG. Mal pushed in, locking down the last on south. Rassel rushed the southern gate. Drak finally caught the lumbering brood on north at just the right angle. Head detached from neck. The body still swinging blindly as it tumbled to the turf. Rook finished off an arch foe. Then the bandit beside him as well. Rax found himself faced with a mallet-wielding malcontent. But he quickly cut him down to size. And another, for good measure. Or half measure, perhaps. Cetrus splattered another scoundrel's skull. And Seymore stepped in. Hey, there we go. Okay, not a kill, but we'll take it. His heavy blade bit deep, nearly taking an archer's leg off at the knee. As Mal carved open another cur's face on south. And the raider stepped things up, preparing to sweep the field. And then the encampment after. A task made all the easier as Random felled one more. Drak caught a spearman from the side, Kopesh cleaving ribs. Alright, Rax, hang back for a sec. Let's give Seymore one more shot. Man, you missed that one by one. That's just mean. Oh, buddy, the dice are just not falling in your favor today. And Rax, finally losing patience, cleaved the final foe in twain, leaving but one remaining out of sight on north. Diego gored the singular swordsman, pinning him in place, though Drakiith failed to follow through. And thus, the last life was claimed, not by catastrophic carnage, but rather the comparatively gentle loss of blood. What a waste, Drakiith grumbled, eyeing the spilled blood somewhat longingly. The rest of the raiders quickly hastened him away to help in looting the rest of the camp. The flagellant turned blood-hungry fiend did give them pause from time to time, but, you know, just the price you pay for making monsters. Nothing all that notable on loot, but that'll at least keep us going for a little while longer. We are running a bit light on coin since we picked up that armor. No level up, so let me just do some light rearranging, just in case. And on we go. Let's get back to Landstedt. Back where it all began. I imagine upon arrival our anatomists will ever so briefly excuse themselves to file reports with their shadowy masters. Or perhaps just their academic peers. Who knows what those weirdos are really up to? Ooh, that is a very lucrative assortment of settlement events. Terrible time for buying, but a great time for selling. So yes, let's go ahead and hit the pause button real quick. I'll get our various bits and pieces repurposed, sell off all our excess inventory, and then we'll push on. Overberg awaits. And we are back. Not too far from Overberg now, though it is on the southern end of enemy territory. Not to mention, of course, just past Spiderwood, an area we know is rife with all manner of brutish foes. I don't think we've got time to even dip our toes in Overberg just yet, but... Oh. Well, would you look at that? The first Overberg company. Oh, with a couple of Zweihanders. I really would like to bank a Zweihander helm for Seymore. He might not be able to hit the broadside of a barn with that greatsword just yet, but he's still got a ways to go before we really have to worry about it. You know, at least 4 more levels worth of rolls before he settles into his more or less final melee score. Still, taking on an entire platoon right before sieging a keep might be a bit much. But we do also need a target of opportunity, since we can't start the siege today. Plus, of course, they are from Overberg. I mean, they'd almost certainly try to reinforce the position once things are underway, so we'll give it a shot. En route to Overberg, the raiders soon found themselves some company on the road. A few familiar faces in the mix, perhaps old friends or at least acquaintances. But alas, the colors they wore, the flag they flew, now marked them as naught but targets. The two sides squared off, shoulders tensed, postures restless. Neither wanted to make the first move, but then, the ring of steel on leather. No one knew who had skinned the first blade. But a split second later, they were at each other's throats. Oh boy, yeah, this might have been a mistake. Though on the bright side, we do technically have them outgunned, I think. So they'll have to move up. Also, doggo. Sorry, bud. A hirsute herald was the first life claimed by this impromptu encounter. The rest of the first Overberg winced as it rushed ahead and was just as quickly cut down. The Zweihanders moved up next, massive blades bobbing with each loping stride. The sergeant next up, shouting and gesturing with his axe, calling the soldiers to follow behind. And as the armored ranks approached, Valen finally let fly, a pair of axes thunking into the first soldier in line. Face split, chest bloodied. Zarmal ducking in a split second later, dagger flashing. Drak swiftly at his side. Rak stepped up. A colossal swing, splitting shield and shield bearer both. The soldier's sundered frame sagging inward, shattered skeleton no longer capable of carrying his weight. Alois took aim. A peppering of shrapnel, giving two soldiers pause. And the rest of the first Oberberg rushed forward, filling in the rest of the ranks, crossbows readied. The boldly flying banner, last in line. Rook gouged a guardsman. Rassel pummeled a pickman. Once again, easy prey for random flailing. A hollow pop as a shoulder is wrenched out of place. Another axe, a bloodied soldier falls. Zarmal gutting another with a deft stab and twist. Bowman lays into the first Zweihander, a pair of arrows buried in his chest. Racks briefly trading blows, but none quite finding their mark. Alois steps up. A carefully angled cone of shrapnel shears across the southern flank. One billman in particular, gurgling as blood wells up from his shredded throat. Viego holds the north. Drak and Zarmal fending off the sergeant's axe. Alright, Rook, for once, don't go for the head. Oh, I mean, I still wanted you to hit the body, but fine. There we go. A brutish body blow from Rassel, and the first Zweihander falls, hat tumbling to the ground. Hopefully fit for reuse. The blast of the bannerman's horn, the soldiers reluctantly rallied. A pike tearing at Zarmal's tunic. A nasty hit on Drak, armor sundered, but flesh unscathed. Trip slipped in, stiletto buried between the second Zweihander's ribs. A staccato crunch as random flailing claimed yet more spare ribs. Rassel swiftly stunning the soldier as well. Drak slashed across the sergeant's face, splitting the bridge of his nose. Two spikes spitted the sergeant's chest. A broad stroke from Rak swept across Zweihander and Shieldman both. The first going to pieces. A savage flurry of stabs, the sergeant finally fell. Stomach and chest a bloody patchwork. A sponge of sucking wounds. Diego drove his way deeper into the enemy formation, opening a path for his allies. Spying an Arbalister off to one side. Bowman quickly cut him down. Trip towed the line. Rassel was picked on the south, Diego stunned on the north. A soldier sunk, gasping, to the ground. Drak beheaded a billman. Zarmal impaled a hand, then fell back, gasping for breath. He's got the fatigue-reducing rondel, by the way. I did end up grabbing that instead of trade goods. More shrapnel swept the south. A bloodied billman bucked to the ground. Sneering at his craven foe, Rex did not even deign to do him in, instead wading into the enemy back line as Rook finished the job. Cetrus circled wide, sight set on the remaining billman. Trip flanked the final Pikmin. Two more neatly grouped shots. The bannermen fell. Oh, and finally a bloody reckoning. The lash of a billhook, cleaving Drakiith's bicep to the bone. His flesh knitted readily, the muscle beneath, perhaps not quite so much. He would need some time to recover. He had done his part. The rest of the raiders had it from here. Zarmal ducked in, stabbing a soldier's sternum, then swiftly falling back. A broad sweep from Rax, two more foes fell. A fountain of blood splattering the remaining billman. But his craving for carnage unquenched. The burly warrior moved in for more. Cetrus cracked one billman's head open, the soldier teetering and tottering, but not quite falling down. Nor did the shieldman in front of him, despite yet more black-fletched arrows protruding from his increasingly pin-cushioned form. A few soldiers tried to flee, one falling to Rax's axe, another to Random's flail. Diego cut down the final billman, then pursued the final fleeing figure, as did the rest of the raiders. Harsh, perhaps, but not needlessly cruel. It was important to ensure that not a single soldier survived, to warn Oberberg of the pending threat, of the raiders who would soon arrive at their gate. And as the final soldier made his move, Rax made his as well. And the battlefield fell silent, Drakiith favoring his arm, but the raiders otherwise largely unscathed. And look at that. Not just one Zweihander helmet, but both. Fantastic. And they are, in fact, the full-on Zweihander helmets, not just hats, which will sometimes appear instead. Though I think mainly on, like, swordsmen, maybe. Maybe the Zweihanders and soldier formations are always armored. Either way, happy to have them. Not to mention, of course, all that other delicious gear. That'll be another couple thou easy. Though we should probably fall back to Loundstat, so we can clear our cart, tend our wounds. And then, yeah, that'll be a great place for us to pick back up next time. As we do indeed finish our approach on Oberberg. Their first company has fallen, but resistors yet remain. And thus the raiders' work is not yet done. We'll hit the pause button for now. I will make our final preparations, and we will pick up here next time. As, yeah, we literally play for keeps. Gotta know when to stronghold them. I'll figure something out. See you then. Oh, and special thanks to the raiders, the fine folks who help make these videos possible, including but not limited to RobbyB23, Revenant, Alois, Arrow Bowman, Dragon Matrix 7, Drakiith, EgonAlter, Exsellsior, Gottlieb, James Trimmier, Lady Shayna, Mark Giemza, Nathan Welch Jr., OverlordPherom, RandomPassrby, RobbyB, Thomas Piatkowski, Triphoppenskip, and Valinrook. Thanks for your support, guys. That said, if you'd also like to help support the channel, then feel free to push the buttons that do the things. Trust me, it does make a difference. Or you could even check out the PayPal, the Patreon, the Nexus GG, or the YouTube memberships. Links are in the description.